chair of tonight's event, I would like to welcome you all to the 3rd Annual Young Friend of Film Honors. This event would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors, Stagebill and the Bank of America. We would also like to thank St. John Boutique for graciously donating gift bags for the evening. We are also extremely grateful to Grand Marnier for providing Grand Marnier cocktails and Casa Repository wines. Personally, I would like to thank Sarah Bensman, Will McCord, and the entire staff of the Film Society of Lincoln Center for their incredible efforts in coordinating this event. One can say that our honoree tonight displayed dramatic talent at a terribly precocious age. Although she made her first real acting debut in 1981's Eyes of a Stranger, and we will view a clip of that performance tonight, she had a non-speaking film role at the age of 9 and attended summer workshops led by Lee Strasberg at the age of 14. She was only 16 years old when she received her membership in the Screen Actors Guild. Despite her young start, she quickly mastered playing characters who are much older or trying to be much older than their years, as in her audacious early roles in Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Last Exit to Brooklyn. Film comment writer Chris Chang writes that Lee's process of willing herself to become something she is not is part of the phenomenon that secures her place as one of the best actors at the millennial turn. What this transformation allows her is stellar and award-winning performances, as in Last Exit to Brooklyn, Miami Blues, and Georgia, for which she won the New York Film Critics Best Actress Award. What this extraordinary talent allows us is to view a woman incapable of playing ordinary parts, as in Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle and Existence. And her talents do not end there. In 2001, she received a citation for excellence in filmmaking from the National Board of Review for The Anniversary Party, which she co-wrote, co-directed, and co-starred. For all the reasons I just mentioned, for the remarkable performances we will get to see glimpses of this evening, and for all the roles we know she will present us with in the future, we are very pleased to honor the talented Jennifer Jason Leigh with this evening's tribute.
I'll be eligible for a teapot.
I'm sorry.
It's just 8 more days. You'll still be here, won't you?
I don't know. My problem is that I can have everything and anything that I want, but I don't know what I want. Tell me again about that Burger World franchise.
Okay. Okay. You need $50,000. You borrow another $50,000 from Burger World, and you wait for an opening.
Why? What's the purpose?
To make a living, that's all. You hire kids so you can pay them nothing, and you watch them real close or they will steal you blind. And you save your money, and you buy a nice little house with a white picket fence, and you live happily ever after.
I tell you what, let's go straight to the happily ever after part, okay? I can't see any point in hanging out in a Burger World no matter how much money you're gonna make. It's stupid. You can forget about Burger World, honey.
Okay. could carry you.
A serious one.
Anything.
Why do you think that we, you and I,
That would be we.
have never misbehaved? Referring to what we don't do in spite of everything.
What we don't do. Mrs. Parker, really?
Tell me. No.
Well, I suppose we respect each other too much.
We don't respect anyone.
Well, Mrs. Parker, I suppose it didn't work.
Suppose it did.
It's a lot easier to take disappointment when you're young or dumb and don't expect much, but we're old and smart and don't bat those orange in your eyes at me. You know what I'm talking about. That's the trouble, you know entirely too much.
Gee, and I was thinking I must not know enough. Because the things I want most I can't seem to get.
And that's because you've forgotten how to have fun.
Oh, really? Fun. I'll show you some fun.
What are you doing?
Yes, you will.
What are you doing?
You looked in need of rescue, dear. What's your name? Joni. Sit down. Joni Gerard.
What are you doing? Robert?
And are you an actress, Joni Gerard? I'm a Western Union girl. But I want to be an actress. Oh, you dear brave soul. You're in luck. Ready as a talent scout, aren't you, Fred? Really?
Well, after a fashion. And this is Mrs. Parker, my good friend and favorite living writer.
But not much fun.
You're a real living writer?
Currently on leave.
Jeez, I feel like I ought to drop a curtsy or something.
If that's your pants might tease.
All right.
So, what do you say? Shall we go wild tonight?
Oh.
Yeah, Fred, what do you say? You want to go wild?
I could outline several opera plots I've been working on. Sort of.
Forget him, dear. I've just been released from Our Lady of Malpractice, and I want to go wild. Where do I go now?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle, Campbell Scott and director Alan Rudolph.
Well, this is great for Jennifer, for the rest of us. Glad they showed a clip of that movie. I'm very proud of that film. There was a lot of fuss about Jennifer's voice, and we had to set the record straight. It was actually Dorothy Parker's voice, and Jennifer was just borrowing it for a while. She and Dorothy had a great communication during the making of that film. And every time Mrs. Parker responded, it was always with some thunder. That's how she gave her approval, especially to actors. She said if you scratch an actor, you'll find an actress. Especially this one time, we were in a small house filming a simple black and white makeup test for the old Dorothy. And Jennifer decided against any heavy makeup, and she just wanted to use her voice. Voice. She was to recite particular, one of Dorothy's last taped interviews, particular cranky and revealing one. And it was, a storm was brewing outside, and as we started to film, the thunder increased. Fitzgerald, by the way, said that Dorothy Parker was lightning and swift. And I'm not sure what followed could really be called simply acting. It was more like a seance. There was some deep connection going on. And I'd heard that tape many, many times before. I knew Dorothy Parker's tired voice in that tape. It was near the end of her life. But when Jennifer started on this test, I couldn't tell the difference. No one could. Campbell was in the room. We were rather astounded. The transformation was taking place. And as she proceeded with this one-sided interview, she had taken questions out, just the answers. We all knew the crew was completely enthralled, that something was happening. And right at the moment when Jennifer finished the interview, the test we were shooting, there was a loud crack that rocked this whole little house, and everything went immediately dark. Lightning had just struck the house. And there was a long, prolonged, uneasy silence, and then Jennifer's own little voice came out and said, "I think she approved, don't you?" I know she approved because you don't mess with Mother Nature or any of her daughters. And Jennifer, it was a privilege to work with you. I hope we do it again. Your special brand of magic is too rare, and your powers are too great for us not to do it again. I love you deeply, and congratulations. The best is yet to come.
I'm sick of talking about Jennifer. Where is Jennifer? Where are you? There you are. Hi. She's petrified of what I'm going to say. She should be. We don't have enough time for me to talk about Mrs. Parker. That was one of those work experiences that you have and then you try to repeat for the rest of your life and you're disappointed. I will say this, it was sort of like a huge, I remember the beginning of that experience in Montreal, and it was like a huge cave, I think, the whole prospect of it, and inside the cave was Al and Rudolph saying, "Hey, come on in, let's make a film about people who are a lot smarter and funnier than we'll ever be." And there were about 20 of us, at least 20 of us, principal actors. Jane was here, and I think Matthew's here. Sort of waiting outside the cave like, no. Except for Jennifer, who was like, "Yeah, come on, let's go." And then we all said, "Well, she would, let's go." But none of you know, probably, that Jennifer and I made another film together. It was a Hallmark Hall of Fame. My mother, who was an actress, used to say, "There is work, and there are mortgage-paying jobs. The important thing is to know the difference." So I took this job, and I don't mean to deride Hallmark Hall of Fame. They've supported me over the years, and it was a delightful script, and I still have no idea what it was about. And when you take these jobs, you take them for a certain reason, and you're direct about it. And then your next, and this is a movie called The Love Letter, and it was about a woman in the Civil War who falls in love with a colonel, but he's also the incarnate spirit of the guy in modern days. But basically it was about a magic desk, and to this day, I'm very nervous, to this day, eventually, but many people do come up and say, that you and Jennifer were great in that, that movie about the, and I inevitably finish the sentence, the magic desk, yes, the magic desk, and it was about a desk, and letters were transported. Anyway, So when you take these jobs, I'll be done in a minute, I promise. When you take these jobs, you immediately, because you know you're going to be there for 5 or 6 weeks, you think, all right, who else is there? Who's the director? Who can I do? And so, whoever was the main actress was very important to me, and I kept calling and saying, well, who'd you get? Well, we lost this person, we're trying to find this person. Finally, I called about a week before, and I said, who's the girl? Who's the... And they said, well, we think it's going to be Jennifer Jason Leigh. And I was like, yeah, that's funny. No, who's the girl? Who's the girl? And they said, no, we think it's Jennifer Jason Leigh. She's going to do it. And I was stunned and happy, but also a little pissed off. Because now I thought, this is not going to be under the radar now. And now I have to go down there and act and, and come up with a character or some goddamn thing. So, but what I'm trying to say is, I think people who might not know Jennifer, I think they tend to think of her because she's such a brilliant character actress, and that's the highest compliment I can give, because that's what I believe acting is. They think maybe that she's kind of also, because she's such an intensely good character actress, that she's detached and unpractical or something. She's actually funny and very practical, and I think that's what I treasure the most about her. And this will tell you, I think, how I got down there. She'd been working for a week, and we were in Virginia or someplace, where they always shoot those things, and we pull up to the thing, and I'm wondering, how am I going to put a mustache on? Here we go. And I get there, and Jennifer comes out of the trailer in this huge hoop skirt, and I think, oh fuck, she's got a character. I don't have a hoop skirt. And I walked up to her, and the first thing she said to me was, how broke are you? And I felt much better. I treasure you. I hope we get to work together. I'm sure we will.
When I came into the hall just now, I was reminiscing about all the times I came home to my daughter, almost knocking me down the steps in her eagerness to greet me. Do you remember?
I remember how distasteful you found such clumsy displays of affection.
When I heard you, I thought of your dear mother. Are you to marry him?
Yes, Father.
I would like a definite notice of when you set a date. When a poor man is about to lose his only child, I would like an inkling beforehand.
Thank you.
Well, when is it to be?
It occurs to me if I live with you, I ought to obey you.
If that's your theory, it's certainly mine.
But if I don't obey you, I ought not to live with you. To enjoy your kindness and protection.
What a distasteful idea. It must be Mr. Townsend's.
No. It is mine.
Why do you speak to me thus? I've done nothing but try to protect you from...
From what, Father? Love? Affection? Caring? Respect?
It seems you've already departed.
trying to help you.
I think I give a fiddler's fuck what anybody else says about me. Jesus. It's you. What you think. It's the only thing left that's important.
I can't send you to prison.
You think that's the end of the world? All right, let me or leave. Sit and sleep. 3 meals served up every day.
Maybe you're just happy being miserable. Is that it? Is that it, Mother?
Makes it easy if I am.
Vera's a bitch. She's abusive. She's mean. She's cheap. Why not leave? Why not just walk?
What they do in New York?
If someone hurts me, I'll leave. Believe me, I learned that a long time before I got to New York.
I'm not the one that hurt you.
What is that supposed to mean? You blaming him? Is that what we're into now? He was a drunk. Barely get out of his own way. Fine. Maybe he hit you. I don't remember it.
You don't seem to remember much of anything.
But then he's not exactly around to defend himself, is he?
You honest to God don't remember, do you?
Look. Here's the goddamn list. You do what you want with it.
That's why it's so unsettled, ain't it?
Unsettled? Don't you mean buggery, Mother? If you're attempting some sort of meaningful analysis, perhaps we'd best define our terms.
Selena!
It's the cornerstone of critical thinking, Mother, the ability to communicate with an agreed-upon vocabulary.
We'll have another drink.
I've had my fun for the night.
No! You sit down right this minute, and you can just stow that bastard shit. We're gonna sit down at this table, you and me. And we're gonna have us a drink. When we're through, when I'm through, then you can run upstairs and take whichever one of those little pills makes you feel the best.
My sister's here tonight, everybody. And we're gonna do one of her songs. You wanna come up and do it with us, Georgia? My sister, the single person I'll miss when I leave this earth.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the director of Georgia, Ulu Grosbard.
It's hard than directing a movie. I think it's been some years since I saw Georgia. And when the Film Society called me to tell me that I picked this for tonight's event, I thought I better take a look at the movie. As I was watching it, what came back to me most vividly was my sense of admiration and awe at Jennifer's gutsiness at tackling one difficult emotional scene after another and going for broke every time out. The reality of facing 3,500 rock and roll fans at Seattle's Arena Center with a 9-minute rendition of Van Morrison's Take Me Back, when all she had ever done is sing in her shower, plus a couple of weeks rehearsal in a two-car garage, was a reality that was beyond imagination for me. Yet she threw herself into it, headlong, took command of the situation, with a crowd that was not exactly obedient. We had managed to invite 3,500 people by advertising local bands so that they would come for free. We couldn't afford, obviously, to pay a lot of extras. And what I didn't know was one of those bands was a punk group that was infamous for having fans that made a point of going to shows and creating fights. So all I can tell you is I don't know how Jennifer managed that night to both quiet him down and keep him quiet long enough for us to get the coverage we needed. It was one of those do or die nights, and there was no going back. And sure enough, at about 2 a.m. when we were about to wrap, a bunch of those guys got up and I guess broke loose and just literally started to take the place apart. And we were very happy to get out of there alive. I think what gives me the most joy as a director when making a movie is that moment in front of the camera when an actor so comes to inhabit his character that his behavior is unpredictable as well as completely inevitable. And for those many, many moments in Georgia, Jennifer, I'm here to thank you.
It's going to take a while before we learn this stuff. I know I'm not very good at it.
Well, I don't know. Not sure if it's going to work out.
What?
Poor old Leah's got the DTs. We haven't got a Gloucester.
What about Charles?
I don't think Gloucester's much of a golfer. He probably doesn't want to do it anyway. Not sure if any of them do.
I think you're wrong about people not wanting to do it. I know, I can't go back to just sitting around and thinking all day. Just all the thoughts that come into my brain.
What kind of thoughts?
You know the kind. Is anyone back home thinking about me? How's my sister? Is she really taking care of Flower Boy? Flower Boy's my dog. Are you really an actor?
A long time ago, when I lived in London,
Yeah. Where do you live now?
Los Angeles.
Wow. Are you in the movies?
Well, no, not really. I used to work in the theatre.
I used to work in the theatre too.
Where?
Oh. No. You're gonna have to use your imagination on that one.
Careful now.
You're not like that.
Poor Matt. He's having a bit of a struggle. I'm sure Sally's told you.
No, what?
The movie.
Well, I think she's really enjoying it. Is Mac okay?
I don't know what's going on. I don't care to guess. Mac is really unhappy. She's just not there. I don't know what the fuck she is playing half the time. Neither does she. Last week, we shot a scene. She sobbed through every take. And, you know, she's a great sobber. It comes easy to her, and that's fine. And it's all terribly moving and whatnot, but it's a fucking comedy. Something's gone. I think she's afraid, and that is death.
What?
Hey, I'm sorry. Forget it. I never said any of this. It's not important. It's a movie. Look, you guys are going to have kids. That's probably what this is about. You know, you're having kids. It's so great. You know, she just doesn't want to do this anymore, probably. I mean, grown-ups don't do this for a living. You guys are going to have kids. You'll be directing. One asshole in the family is enough. I think Sophia knew that intuitively. But get the epidural. None of this natural childbirth stuff. It's not natural. No, everything will be as it should be. Jack shall have Jill. Naught shall go ill. Speaking of acting, the role of Leo in your film. Any casting ideas yet? I happen to have a small window.
Leo. Can't. Leo's 28.
Scratch out a 2, put in a 3, and I'm yours.
Scratch out a 2, put in a 4.
You fucking cunt. I'm 39.
5 years ago, I was at the party, remember?
Okay, so I'm too old. But you could rewrite the novel.
I'm not going to
make him an older character. Then I'd be right. Who wants one of these young idiots with no gravitas? You need gravitas.
You've got gravitas.
I've got gravitas up the wazoo.
I hope you're having a nice night. I'm sorry we can't be with you, but I'm in London filming. I'm very, very proud of you to be having your own tribute at the ripe old age of 25. It's a miracle. And I hope you're having an okay night. I know it might be a little traumatic for you, seeing all your films, seeing all your life flash in front of your eyes, and having so many people talk about you when you're not even dead. But I hope you are managing to enjoy it. I think it's hard to talk about why people are great actors, because it's actually such a personal thing, and you just have something about you that makes people want to watch you. You have a quality that is fascinating, and people want to look at you, and that's a great thing. That's why you're a great actor. And I was very, very, very proud and happy to have worked with you and to have made our film. I'm very, very proud of it and of us. And there was a moment when we were walking up, when we were in Cannes, and we walked up the steps, and then we went into the cinema and we introduced our film, the world premiere of our film, and then the lights went down, and we were holding hands and we looked at each other, and that's a really, it's a great memory for me. It's a really, the moment I'll never forget, and I thank you for making it happen and for sharing it. So, there we are. So I send you lots of love and hope you've worn something nice. Do you stick with the product or does it branch out? Alright, I'll see you when I get back, and lots of love and congratulations.
Please welcome from the anniversary party, Kevin Kline.
Before I say my little piece, I want to read a letter that was faxed to me yesterday from the Coen Brothers, who are in Los Angeles making a film. Couldn't be here, but wanted me to read this. We were pleased to be asked to contribute to this evening of reminiscence and tribute to our great friend Jennifer Jason Leigh. So far, we've only done the one movie with Jennifer, The Hudsucker Proxy, where we learned in a scene that called for her to slap Tim Robbins that Jennifer's many gifts do not include the ability to fake punches for the camera. As a matter of fact, after she slapped Tim silly in that movie, and is it only coincidence that they haven't worked together since? We have asked Jennifer to do work on other movies, but only in the recording studio where she can't hurt anyone. Jennifer has as great a talent for vocal as for physical transformation, and we have exploited it in our in many movies. But we salute Jennifer tonight, not for revoicing the midget in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But for a side of her character that most people aren't aware of. Though she has never sought public recognition for it, her friends know that the one thing closest to Jennifer's heart, after her work, is the cause of animal rights. In the Jennifer Jason Leigh Wild Game Preserve in Zambia, animals that have been injured by poachers or predators are nursed back to health before being carefully reintroduced into the wild. This kind of work takes not only money and dedication, but great patience and real love. Each animal is branded with a large JJL, not out of vanity, but so that the wardens can track their progress in the bush. If the creature is too small to take the brand, he is ear tagged with a laminated picture of Jennifer taken on the set of Backdraft. When the animals have offspring, the young are carefully collected and brought back to the Jennifer Jason Leigh Wild Game Preserve so that Jennifer may have her picture taken holding them. The chain of life and love goes on. Yes, her professional accomplishments and her charitable work speak eloquently. That's a good word to chew upon, I love that. Her professional accomplishments and her charitable work speak eloquently for themselves. But we would like to say something about Jennifer's heart. When Ethan was struck by a car in West Hollywood last August, he was left with a broken clavicle and a compound break in one leg. Jennifer got out of the car. Although she could not herself wait for the ambulance, she was hosting a lunch. And although to this day she disclaims liability, the legal risks did not deter her from calling the hospital to check on Ethan's progress. She would, however, sometimes disguise her voice. But this is her gift. Actor, humanitarian, voice of midgets, Jennifer Jason Leigh, we salute you. Now on a more somber note. I would just like to say how happy I am to be here for this tribute, a tribute which is long overdue. I've been waiting to the age of 35 to recognize it. I have always admired Jenny for her sense of truth, her diversity, her honesty, adventurousness, commitment, humanity. In fact, all the qualities I admire about my own work. I met Jenny 15 years ago through my wife Phoebe. When I think of Jenny, I always think of this poem, which I've always loved. So in closing, since I recited a poem in the anniversary party, it seems only fitting and equally as pretentious to do so here. Jenny kissed week. Trained actor, I really can speak. Watch this. Jenny kissed me when we met, jumping from the chair she sat in. Time, youth thief, who loved to get sweets into your list, put that in. Say I'm weary. Say I'm sad. Say that health and wealth have missed me. Say I'm growing old, but add, Jenny kissed me.
Squeezed my balls until I was dead. Thanks. So you working?
Yes. I have a night job. I round up those shopping carts. They're left out on the sidewalks, you know? I was thinking about doing a documentary about it. You know, the people that leave them there. Why do they leave them there? Are they making a statement about the supermarket? Or about society? You know, I interviewed a couple of them. And the whole thing became so fucking boring that I gave up. But, you know, I'm not depressed that I'm 26 and have no idea what I'm going to do with my life.
Did you ever try morning glory seeds?
What are you gonna do, H?
Didn't you think Bobby was gonna go the distance? I thought he was gonna go the whole 9 yards. I mean, Bobby's a poet. He's an artist. And you see desperation in the eyes. It's a bad sign. It's about paying the rent.
What are you gonna do, H?
I could always get a gig. Don't you think so? I've been looking to get out of Seattle. But I'm afraid of leaving my connection, you know? Every time I go out of town, it's a disaster. In Chicago, I went downtown to see where to score. And I see these three big, huge black guys with guns in their pants. And I knew that all was going to happen was I was going to get robbed. I moved to New Orleans, tried to do it there, got robbed. I knew I was going to get robbed, and I got robbed. And used the detox to get off the street. My sister's always good for a few bucks. She's not gonna put me on forever. I don't want to be on the street, man. It's not my bag. I thought, you know, I could teach.
Yeah.
Please welcome from Georgia, John C. Reilly.
Wow. Well, I should comment on that. I don't know why you picked a scene with just me in it, or me mostly talking. I would have shown that shot at the very end of the movie when Jennifer, just the expression on her face, I don't know if you're familiar with the film, but it kind of said it all, her expression at the end of the movie. Anyway, welcome to the living wake for Jennifer Jason Leigh. I guess that's my way of saying it's a little early for counting chickens. I've known Jennifer long enough to know that as far as what's coming for her, you ain't seen nothing yet. But we're here, and who hasn't had those maudlin thoughts about what will they say about me after I die? I've always thought the most important guest at a funeral is always missing, so what a lovely idea to gather here to tell Jennifer what we think and feel while she can enjoy it. Hopefully she is so far, despite my stumbling start. You having a good time so far? Yeah. All right, well that said, while I was writing the speech, I realized I have so much more to say about this amazing person and so many treasured memories that any attempt to cram it all into 5 minutes or so would be impossible. So here are some broad strokes. And if you want to know more, get to know her. You will be delighted and surprised, I guarantee you. Jennifer Jason Leigh is one of the most inspiring people I've ever met. And I get around. Jennifer, you're so fucking brave. It's the Young Film Society, where I can say fuck you. Fuck yeah! Brave! Very brave. I mean, for instance, when you told me that you were going off to New York to do cabaret on Broadway, for instance, I thought, are you fucking nuts? I mean, she's barely done a play, let alone a musical, 8 times a week, you know. And yet, there I was, watching her bring reality and depth and darkness to some daffy girl on the lam in Berlin. And dancing her ass off to boot. And that same scenario has happened over and over again with me quaking at the thought of her leaps of faith, only for her to see her astound me again and again with the choices that she makes. Which brings me to the question of darkness. We were at a Q&A for Georgia one time. We were sitting up on stage, and a noted critic of the time piped up with a question and said, Jennifer, you seem to have cornered the market on whores, drunks, addicts, and losers. When are you going to do something sunny? Well, what he didn't know was that Jennifer is sunny on the inside. And anyone who has spent some time with her can tell you she can be as light and as giddy as a champagne bubble. And that critic was later picked up for shoplifting. Not far from here, instead. So it just goes to show you, it's better to be dark at work than sunny at home. You know, being an actor is sort of like living in an amusement park where the audience watches you as you ride the rides. and they experience them through you. And some actors like to stick to the costume parade through town square. And some like the rides where you don't muss your hair and you look really cool, like those kiddie motorcycles that go round and around in a circle. And some like to dress up like bears and dance around. And some actors, like Jennifer, are drawn to the scary rides. The roller coasters and tilt-a-whirls and the haunted house and the tunnel of love. And those are the rides that test you and make you throw up. And you usually walk away from those rides in kind of a dizzy, exhilarated daze. But those are the rides that reflect life at its most intense. And life's intense moments are the ones that we remember, and the ones that we learn from, and the ones that make us grow. So, thank you, Jennifer, for teaching me about bravery and strength and tenacity and risk and loyalty and grace and wit and kindness and generosity. And thanks for going on the scary rides over and over. But thank you most of all for being my friend. Congratulations.
Letting them know we're interested.
They're wired.
Not bad. I came here from a coat buy.
You're not taking your work home at night.
Oh, I'm so sick of the Joe's Club I could puke. And then you get home and the same damn people lying on the couch or banging on the door to get in.
That's not what I mean.
I know. But it's a fine line, Dad.
I used to do a lot of that shit one time. Till it got me shot in the toe.
You don't know what hurt's all about till you've been shot in the toe.
Well,
You and Jim still sharing bed and board?
off and on.
You still got the other address though, right? That'll have my ass if it turns out you and Raynor don't have separate places.
Got the other place.
Good. There's 4,500. Get some rest.
Oh, my panties are getting a little wet. Oh, baby, why don't you take your fingers and rub my hot pink pussy? Oh, yeah, right on my clit. And now take your fingers and put them inside me. Oh, yeah, just fuck me with your fingers, baby. Oh, don't you want to go inside? You want to hear how wet I am?
Getting a roach.
That's how wet you make my pussy, baby. Oh, I really want you to fuck me now. I want you to go inside with your big hard cock. Oh, but wait, make me beg for it. Just tease my clit, please, baby. Ooh, my legs are spread so wide. Oh, I feel you fucking me so deep. Oh, please, harder. Harder. Ooh, I can feel your balls against my ass, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, lift my legs above your shoulders. Yeah, just fucking me so hard. Oh, I'm gonna come.
Sounds like you really got hot talking to that guy.
Right. Did you give JoJo his eardrops?
Talking about his dick and everything.
Dick. I never say that word.
Huh, whatever.
I hate that word. Dick.
I don't think you should talk to him in front of kids.
I don't understand.
How do you know?
Goes in one ear and goes out the other. You should be happy to have a job where I'm home all the time, you know, instead of some funky daycare. I make damn good money. Hey, did you collect from the Lions yet? I don't want you servicing their pool. You know, they haven't paid.
How come you never talk to me like that?
Like what?
Like the way you talk those guys off.
Are you kidding me?
Well, it might spice things up.
Look, you want to fuck me. I'm just a little talked out, you know? Shit, can you get this right? Jerry. Big Bear. Did I hurt your feelings? Look at me.
No.
Look at me.
It's all right. Let me just get this.
I'm so glad JoJo got your eyes, you know that? You wanna fuck? Hmm? Yeah, let's fuck. Come on. We can fuck. Oh shit, man. Sorry, I have TV. I'll be back.
Would you come in, please, and take a letter? Pull the cock on Mamie. Did you happen to see the front page of today's Manhattan Argus?
Well, I didn't bother to read the article. I didn't think the picture did you justice.
Well, the picture's fine. It's with that knuckleheaded dame running underneath. Of all the irresponsible... Take this down. Dear Miss Archer, I call you Miss because you seem to have missed the boat completely on this one. How on earth would you know whether I'm an imbecile when you don't even have the guts to come in here and interview me man to man? No, change man to man to face to face. No, change face to face to eye to eye. And guts to common decency. These wild speculations about my intelligence, these preposterous inventions, would be better suited to the pages of Amazing Tales magazine. If the editors of the Manhattan Argus see fit to publish the rantings of a disordered mind, perhaps they will see fit to publish this letter. But I doubt it, I most seriously doubt it, as I doubt also that you could find a home at Amazing Tales, periodical which I have enjoyed for many years. Sincerely, etc., etc., etc.
Is that all, Mr. Barnes?
Well, you know me, Amy, at least better than the standards. Do you think I'm an imbecile?
Oh, well, I'm sure I...
Go on, tell the truth. I trust you. I place a lot of stock in your opinion.
Well?
Oh, sure. You're biased. You're a fellow Muncian. But let me ask you a question. Would an imbecile come up with this? I designed it myself. This is the sweet baby that's going to put Hudsucker right back on top.
Uh-huh.
You know, for kids.
I just type this up.
Oh, no, Amy, that won't be necessary. I shouldn't send it. She's just doing her job, I guess.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she does deserve it. Maybe she should have come in here and faced you, man to man.
She probably had a deadline.
Sure, but she still could have gotten your side. For the record.
Well, it's done now. What's the use of grousing about it? Forget the letter, Amy. I just had to blow off some steam. She's probably just a little confused.
Confused?
Yeah, you know, she's probably one of these fast-talking career gals. Thinks she's one of the boys. Probably is one of the boys, if you know what I mean.
No, I'm quite sure I don't know what you mean.
You know, probably suffers from one of these complexes they have nowadays. Seems pretty obvious, doesn't it? She's probably very unattractive and bitter about it.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, she probably dresses in men's clothing, swaps drinks with the guys in the local watering hole, hobnobs with some smooth-talking heel in the newsroom named Biff or Smoocher or...
Smitty.
Exactly. I bet she's ugly, real ugly. Otherwise, why wouldn't they print her picture next to her byline?
Well, maybe she puts her work ahead of her personal appearance.
That's exactly what she tells herself. You and I both know she's a dried-up, bitter old maid. Say, Amy, how about you and I grab a little dinner and a show after work? I was thinking maybe the King and I. How about Oklahoma?
Oh, you don't know a thing about that woman. You don't know who she really is. And only a numbskull thinks he knows things about things he knows nothing about.
Hey, what gives?
Please welcome from the Hudsucker proxy, Tim Robbins.
I forgot all about that slapping thing. Yeah, she did it a lot. But she is the kind of person who can slap you many, many times and you forget about it. I first had the honor and pleasure of working with Jennifer, not on the film set of Hudsucker Proxy, but in the auditions for the movie. The Coen Brothers were very specific about what they wanted. They made us all audition. And they want to make sure that the actors they chose understood the style of the piece and were unafraid of the choices that were necessary to bring their vision to life. And I'd always been a fan of Jennifer's work and I've always wanted to work with her. And so when she came in with this kind of crazed, reinvented, reimagined Barbara Stanwyck, Jean Arthur, Spitfire, Fireball woman, rattling off her lines like some machine gun, everyone knew that there could be no other actress for that role. And working with her, I came to further appreciate the depth of her personality and her generosity and her amazing talent and her goofy sense of humor. I join you in saluting Jennifer tonight and applaud you for doing so. She's one of the rare ones, an actor with talent, and craft, and balls. And in all of her choices, she's steadfastly avoided the trappings of actors. She's much talent and respect for the art of acting, to rely on safe, narcissistic choices. She constantly challenges herself to be better, to dig deeper, to expose the rawness and nakedness of the characters she inhabits. She's not afraid to be unsympathetic. Her character's flaws often make us uncomfortable, leaving us with the difficult choice of loving a villain or hating a heroine. Courage to present the dichotomy in her characters, to avoid the romantic and the superficial, is what sets Jennifer apart from her peers. And I always look forward to the peculiarities and bold choices she brings to her work. Jennifer, you are an inspiration to all of us that have had the pleasure to work with you, and to countless others that view acting as an art and not as a product. Thank you.
Why won't you let me contact Aunt Anna? You gotta be going crazy wondering what's happened to you. I mean, it's not like we've done something wrong. We just ran because we didn't know how many of them there were, right?
to antenna, to let them know you're all right. And to get them to send somebody to help you who knows what he's doing. It says, I can't just keep doing this, whatever it is, you know, forever. Not having any idea when it's going. Hey. What are you doing?
Where's your bipod? Oh, don't tell me you've never been fitted. I can't believe it.
No, I was never fitted with a bioport. What do you care?
Well, you want to get into the biz and you've never played one of my games? You've never played any game.
Look, I've been dying to play your games. But I have this phobia about having my body penetrated surgically. You know what I mean.
No, I'm not sure that I do.
Getting a bioport fitted. I don't know. Can't do it. It's too freaky. Makes my skin crawl.
They just pop your spine with a little hydro gun. They shoot the port plug into it. They do it at malls. It's like getting your ears pierced.
Yeah, sure, with only an infinitesimal chance of permanent spinal paralysis. I've read all about it.
Hey, it's your chosen profession. Besides, once you're ported, there's no end to the games you can play.
You can't seriously want to play games now. Not here, not while we're being hunted down by crazy people.
My baby here took a huge hit in the church, Pico. When those umbilicords got ripped out of her. Ripped out of her. Just as the game architecture was being downloaded from her to all those slave pods. That's a very vulnerable time for her. She could be crying out for help right here, right now. The only way I can tell if the game's not been contaminated, the pod is not about to be crippled for life because of my negligence. It's to coexist with somebody friendly. Are you friendly? Or are you not? She's run off from her husband. He's been beating her up and whatnot. And I'm trying to help her, but I gotta go send a telegram right now, so I need you to watch her. Watch her? Yeah, keep an eye peeled. I don't want her going anywhere. Think you're a smart Jane, don't you? I don't know about all this, Miss Blondie. I'll give you the straight goods. She's on dope. You know what that means? Yes, ma'am, I do. Yeah, she's bumping into walls and talking the screwiest stories. She tries to go someplace, just tell her she can't. Wouldn't want her to hurt herself now, would we? No, ma'am. What's your name for him? What do you call him, Henry? Hank, what? Mr. Stillman? Well, I don't know. I call him that. And you're alone, nitwit. What do you call him in private? Your pet name for him. Private? I don't know what you mean. In bed, when you're doing it, you do it, don't you? Sometimes I call him Heine. What's she call you? What name do you use with him? What's he call you? Me? Yeah, you. In private. Pussy. Pussy and Heine. Terrible invasion of privacy.
Yeah, ain't it?
You guys lose something?
Oh, there's our slippers now.
Yeah, well, I hadn't won a booker either, or a whitbread. The gate was open.
Not yet. The gate was open?
So fast.
You know, I think Ryan needs a new publisher. I think he's outgrown his publisher. You know, they're not doing their job.
Do you have something?
Yes, great. The house is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I understand you're an interior decorator. I so wish I'd known.
Well, whoever did this is amazing.
I did it. Oh, no. Where can I put these? Oh, none there. God, what a fucking day. I only just got a fucking sitter. I don't know her from fucking Adam. She could be a serial killer. We're gonna have to call every 10 minutes. You have to let me give out the number.
She already has.
That's okay, right? That's okay, right? Of course you could. Well,
Claire's a hovering mother.
no, you're not. Monica and Ryan, this is Claire. Hi.
How you doing?
Hello. Hi. Nice. Oh, you're us. Truly. Really? Oh, you'll never know. Well, I have a 4:30 a.m. call, so we're gonna have to leave a little early. Why didn't you bring him? What? What? Why didn't you bring him? Because he's allergic. Oh, yes, to Otis, to dander. Didn't I say? Well, probably. They can tell from the eyelashes. He has eyelashes yay long, but he must be a foot long, his eyelashes. I guess the older you are when you have a baby, the more likely that stuff is to crop up. Or so they tell me. Not soon enough, of course. How are you, Sal? How are you? You look fantastic. Oh, God, having a baby changes everything. Changes your whole perspective, doesn't it? Doesn't it, Mac? You can't be the center of your own world anymore.
Well, it's an object lesson in grace.
Please welcome from the anniversary party, Jane Addams. It's just so funny the way life is, isn't it? Sometimes I have a button at home that I found at a comic book convention, and it says, I love Grace. It's one of those buttons from the 70s, you know, it says, I heart Grace. And I picked it out of a box, and I saved it. I've been saving it for Jennifer because I've been waiting for her to come back to California, because she left. And she's been gone a long time, and she's the one who convinced me to move to California. I lived in New York for 11 years, and Jennifer is such a powerful force of nature that I moved all the way across the country, and I haven't come back. And part of the reason I've stayed and that I've loved living in Los Angeles so much is because of Jennifer and because of friends like John. And watching John speak about Jennifer kind of wrecked me. I mean, I'm a little bit weepy from that, because I remember when Jennifer and Alan called me and said they'd written the script, and other than they said, you know, well, I kept calling them because we wanted to go play. We always like to go out to dinner. And they'd call and say, you know, let's go to Orso, let's go. We have these fabulous times. And suddenly they were busy, they were writing a script. And I thought, oh yeah, well, everybody writes a script. You know, it's Hollywood. But they really did it. And then they sent it to me, and there was this great part in it. And I don't know any other woman friend who would write a part for me and have a Galliano gown sent from the house of Galliano just flown over so that I could put it on and wear it on screen. And I think that Jennifer is so full of grace that magic happens all around her. And I don't mean that in a kind of LA seance-y,
heebie-jeebie kind of spooky Manson, worst of LA kind of way. I mean that in that I lived in New York for 11 years kind of way. And my favorite place to stand is right over there in the center. But I'm perfectly happy to stand over here and just give it up to this lady who I like to sit most of all at the top of her front yard. We walk with our dogs and sit, and we just talk about life, or we go on long canyon hikes. And I miss the off-screen Jennifer so much that I might have to come back here if she doesn't come back to LA, I think. Because, just to give you an example of how, I mean, you've seen one example after another of her beauty and her power, real power. But we went to Italy to a film festival together, and we were expected to kind of go to a party where a lot of actresses I know would have said, you know, great, okay, let's go. We gotta go to that party, we gotta work that room. And Jennifer and I were so thrilled to be able to just say, you know, let's not go to that party. Let's sit up on this beautiful terrace. And as we were driving into the hotel, there was this woman speaking very broken English, and she said to us, you know, if you look over there, the mountain, what was the name of the volcano? Etna. Etna. It's going to be, you know, because she knew we traveled for about 24 hours on a plane, so she was trying to make us excited, you know. And it was a tribute to Jennifer, so we were excited, but still, we were tired. And she pointed out this volcano in the distance, and she said, you know, once in a while, it's smoking now, so you may see some smoke tonight, you know, the night of the tributers, it's going to smoke. And we stayed by ourselves, and we sat on the terrace, and there was a party down below us, and we watched all the behavior, and she was probably writing about it, and in her head. And we looked at this volcano in the distance, and it was smoking, but then we were talking for a while, and suddenly at that magic hour, at that beautiful time of that kind of twilight, the sky was kind of gray and pink, and all of a sudden I swear to you, it was as if there was an orange neon line started to be drawn in the sky in the distance, and the volcano was erupting. And I think it was the first time, I had a friend look it up on the internet, it's the first time it erupted in like 12 years. But it erupted that night that Jennifer was being celebrated all the way across the world in Italy, on this beautiful island. And I don't think that was an accident. I don't. I love her. She's the most generous woman I know. She's a woman's woman, and all you women out there in the audience, you know what I mean. She's a lesson. She is an abject lesson in grace. And I remember actually when we were shooting that scene, every time John said that line, I thought about Jennifer. That was what was in my head. Like, oh yeah, that's Jennifer. Every day, all the time. And she's an inspiration. And I'll just tell you one thing, Jennifer, and then I'll stop. Is that there's a great, Joan Didion wrote a short story called Goodbye to All That. And it was kind of an inspiration. That's sort of why I left New York. I thought, oh, well, Joan Didion did it. I'll go to LA. And, but then later I was working with Nora Ephron, and Nora said, well, you know, Jane, she came back. And I guess I'm making that plea from the opposite coast. And I'm saying, I love New York, and I'm so glad that you're here and that you're working here, but please hurry home. Thank you.
Ma. I'm feeling much better now. I thought you said breakfast. Oh, it's in the blender. I gotta go. Dressed like that? Well, I'm just gonna go upstairs and see Graham. He called while you were out. Well, still, if you're not feeling well, you should wear more than that. Maybe you're right. Leave the door open so we can talk. You know why I think you're sick? You're upset about Sam. You know Sam's dead, don't you? Yeah, we don't have much time. You didn't do it, Eddie, did you? You couldn't have. Oh, why? Oh, why? Ellie, he came in my mouth, and they tried to beat the shit out of me because I wanted to tell you. No, it was an accident. But he deserved it. Okay. The police will be here soon. But you shouldn't run. It'll only make it worse. I knew you weren't yourself when you did this thing. I know. That was you.
Mark Ratner doesn't like me. Mark Ratner doesn't like you. You're crazy. No, he shows absolutely no interest in me. Oh, Stace, Mark Ratner is definitely somebody that you would have to make the first move with. Linda, I did. I made the first move. I made the second move. I made a complete jerk out of myself is what I did. Stace, what do you care about Mark Ratner for? I mean, he's a 16-year-old usher in the movie theater. You have dated older guys. You work at the best food stand in the mall. And you are a close personal friend of mine. Yeah. I was really beginning to like him. Yeah, well, if that's true, you better find somebody else fast. Linda, how long does Doug take? Doug takes forever. Come on. He takes 20 to 30 minutes. I thought you said he took 30 to 40 minutes. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I meant 30 to 40 minutes. Why? How long did Damone take? Damone took 15 to 20 minutes. It's not bad. It's not bad for a high school boy. Dear Doug, I received your message that you weren't coming to my graduation. Doug, this is not the kind of thing that occurs between adults. Maybe you found someone new, someone more mature. But if you ask me, Doug, you're the one being childish. Anyhow, if you think that I'm going to sit around and wait for you, forget it. Seriously, Linda. What do you think? I have another version where I call him an asshole. No, that one's better. It's more mature. Yeah. And I don't have to sing to his level. Yeah. I can go out with anyone I want, practically. That's right. Yeah. Thanks for cheering me up.
You'll hate it in London. It's wet and miserable. It's a medical hellhole, Sally. It's socialized. For God's sakes, there are beds in the corners and terrible plumbing. I know. Jesus, you are not going to have your baby in London. You're going to have your baby here. It's Cedars, Beverly Hills, America, delivered by Dr. Milton Cohen, period. You're going to get that epidural right away. Sally, listen, don't let anybody talk into that Lamaze bullshit. There's no excuse for pain like that. Oh, good, thank God. Let's go in the kitchen and spy on everybody.
What do you mean, thank God?
Oh, you know what I mean.
No. This whole baby thing, are you sure about it? It's not the ticking clock.
Oh,
no. I mean, I know I've always maintained that I never wanted children, and I never did. But this year I truly, really feel ready. It's not the clock.
you're ready. I'm not worried about you, honey. You are going to be a fantastic mom. Joe, on the other hand, is a different story.
Joe loves kids. Joe needs kids. Joe thinks he wants kids.
Joe would like some playmates.
Sally, you know I love him. He's a sweetheart.
Really, but he's not going to be a good father. He's not good parenting material.
Let's go on the floor. I bet it feels so nice against your skin.
Stop trying to change the subject.
Oh, it feels so nice. He's just narcissistic and irresponsible and unreliable.
Oh, Cal's massive adult.
No, but Cal knows who he is. A big stinking fucking baby.
Yes.
Did you notice how happy your husband was when his drugs were brought up?
You weren't exactly horrified, Missy.
True, but I'm not a drug addict.
Neither is Joe.
Well, his sister is, big time. And the New York Times said that addiction is genetic. I'll email you the article.
I've enjoyed having this conversation.
Sally, you don't have kids to save a marriage. Sally, Joe's been home for 5 months only.
We're fine. We're great. We're moving to London and we are having a baby. You weren't fine last summer when you went Sylvia Plath on me in Connecticut. Not nice. Not kind.
Ha! Not half so not kind as your husband was in his portrayal of you in his novel.
Why are you doing this?
His image of you as a possessive, fragile neurotic.
But I am a possessive, fragile neurotic.
No, you are not. You are Sally Nash. Listen to me. You are Sally Nash. And you're my best friend for 20 years. And I love you more than anyone. And you are not going to move to London to have the offspring of some sexually ambivalent man-child. Oh, now I'm a novelist. Now I'm a fucking director. He's a big bastard, Joe Marion. He's probably going to leave you for scripting anyway. Oh, God.
Please welcome from Fast Times at Ridgemont High and the anniversary party, Phoebe Cates. I first met Jennifer in 1981. We had both just been cast in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The director arranged a huge cast meeting and dinner at what was then the Old World Restaurant on Sunset Boulevard. When we were introduced, I was struck by how pretty and tiny and delicate she was. And okay, I'll say it, she seemed a little odd. For one thing, she was eating her salad in somewhat of a quirky way. She was not letting her lips touch the fork like this. She also, she didn't seem particularly friendly. I apologized for being a tad late, and I explained that I didn't really know how to drive, being from New York, and that I was traveling with a friend who did drive, but she was from New York too, and so we were lost, right? And blah, 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 she just She then asked me in a kind of a monotone voice a few very pointed questions regarding our characters and how to research them. And I remember thinking, research. My thought was, hey, you know, we're playing these two girls that work at Pizza Parlor in the mall. They're girls around our age, you know, what's there to talk about? She then tells me how she got a real job working at the actual pizza parlor that we would be filming at, and how helpful it was to get the feel of the grease and flour on her hands and to serve people very quickly, and, you know, would I be interested in her getting me a job there too? I told her that my character didn't really like working in the pizza parlor to begin with. And didn't like having the experience of getting grease on her hands any more than I do, so thanks, but no thanks. I was met with a kind of loaded non-reaction. It was only Jennifer's most. Suddenly I was feeling a little like, I don't think she likes me very much, and she's a little weird. Just talking very seriously about our characters, and how is anyone going to possibly believe that we are best friends? I don't see how this is going to work. She then proceeded to invite me to come over to her house the next day to read through our scenes, and while she gave me directions, I wrote them out without any abbreviations. Something about this struck her as funny, and she laughed, and it was truly the best and most original laugh that I have ever heard in my entire life. It was a little burbling brook-like sound that escaped from her without warning. Her body didn't move, and even her face didn't realize it was happening at first. I thought she might be choking, maybe on a piece of her salad. But when I actually realized that she was laughing, I laughed too, and then I thought, By the way, here's a guide to Jennifer's laughs. The almost choking one that sounds like this. And then the one I call her victory laugh, the one that follows her telling you that she's just run into an ex-boyfriend and how she, of course, was looking fabulous and he, of course, was about 30 pounds overweight. It sounds like this. Honey, he was fat. Ha ha! That's my story. I made it to her house the next day. We ran through our scenes over and over, and then we talked and we talked and we talked into the evening, and we talked into the night, and we talked into the next 20 years. We became the closest of friends. Her mother, Barbara, became like my surrogate mother, and Nina, my little sister. I feel so incredibly lucky. Everyone should have a friend like Jennifer. Here are some things that I think you should know about her. She is smart, wickedly funny, loyal. She has amazing style. She can be a little lossy. She's extremely private, and she loves cheese. She's also a computer whiz. She even took the special advanced Macintosh computer course, where she earned the title Apple Master. She is also a master in the art of gift giving. Aside from the fact that she is embarrassingly generous, she also has an incredible talent for gift wrapping. Extraordinary. She makes frameable, museum-quality, original collage and poured resin art pieces that she sets into the tops of the boxes that contain, let's say, 2 cashmere sweaters. She can decide on the color. She's thoughtful, discreet, when the case calls for it. Has her priorities in order, and despite what you might think from the extreme roles that she plays, she's surprisingly normal. Our relationship has never really been based on talking shop. Jennifer is far too well-rounded a person. Our conversations have always revolved around life, family, love, loss, change. What's the world coming to? Just how fat are we? Reading good books lately? And occasionally, a little gossip. But regarding her work, while a lot of actors are attracted to parts that fit them like a glove, roles that they can step into using their own rhythms, roles which may even possibly showcase their winning personalities, Jennifer chooses a part based on just how many light years away from Jennifer that character lives. When I asked her to explain yesterday why she thinks that she's that kind of an actress, one that doesn't just sort of see the part and think, oh, I can do that. I can do that. It's sort of an idealized version of me. She simply said, I know Bob Hope. The only time that I've ever heard her struggling to figure out a character and actually voicing fears that she would be fired was during rehearsals for Ron Howard's movie Backdraft, in which she was cast as a typical, well-adjusted working girl. Jennifer is a chameleon. She acts without vanity. She relishes the adventure of breaking away from her own personal rhythm, the way that she personally walks, talks, laughs, loves, breathes, sings, and creating the unique and distinct and specific rhythms of this new person that she's inhabiting.
What parts come to mind when talking about this breaking away from your own personal recognizable rhythm and creating a new one? Well, basically all the parts that she's ever played. Among my personal favorites are her performances in Last Days of Brooklyn, Miami Blues, Rush, Washington Square, Mrs. Parker, The Big Picture, Georgia, and The Hudsucker Proxy. Interesting story. Jennifer called me when she first read Hudsucker, and as is her wont, she said, you've got to read this. You've got to go in on this. I'm going to go in on this too, but you really need to do this. So, as you can appreciate, that's not typical behavior. Anyway, I read Hudsucker and I loved it, and I love the idea of working with Coen and meeting to go in and Tim Robbins. Now, not only did Jennifer alert me to the role, and she also insisted that we prepare for it together, helping each other before our auditions. And it was during one of our early work sessions that Jennifer mentioned that she was thinking of doing some of me, Phoebe, using some of my rhythm for part of the fast talking hard as nails from the article. It's funny, I said, I was thinking of doing the same thing. We both auditioned, and in the end, well, who did need that? Jennifer, of course, master of all rhythms indeed, my genius friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Jennifer Jason after Phoebe. It's crazy to be here and have all my friends and people I love come up and talk about me. It's really surreal and a bit overwhelming, and I may faint. But until then, I'll try to finish this. To get a tribute like this at the Film Society of Lincoln Center is truly heart-pounding and exciting, and what a beautiful night. And I've seen so many great movies in this theater, so it makes it very special to me. And I'm just glad that the whole organization is called the Young Friends of Film, because it makes me feel a little less old. And the membership's made up of, I think, 21 to 40-year-olds, so I just kidding. When I first found out about it, I was incredibly thrilled and just so elated. And then I began to feel nauseous. And that feeling has persisted for the last 5 months. And in fact, like when I found out that the Coens couldn't be here tonight, I called Ethan on the phone and said, I'm so disappointed you can't speak at my memorial. It's kind of stay with you. But let me tell you something, it's been an incredibly great memorial, like Reilly was saying, and I'm so glad I was here to witness it. But when I do go, it would be nice if you would all like speak again. I love being an actress. None of the self-consciousness that bugs me about me exists when I act. It's where I feel the freest and the safest and the most at home. In my family, my older sister was all gut and instinct, and she was crazy and scary and lived on the edge, and I made everybody coffee. And so she got the personality and I got the coffee. And you know, Robert Altman says about me, to me, so he doesn't mean it as an insult, that I have no personality, which is probably true, but it's true that it was formed largely due to Carrie, my sister, and also because of Carrie, I've always been drawn to those roles that are so deep and so beyond what I understand, and it's a way for me to come to terms with that in the world, and a way for me to understand my sister. And So acting's really been a beautiful thing for me in that way. And when I was a kid, we lived about a block away from Hollywood Boulevard, so I would just go to movies all the time. I would skip school, or as soon as I was out of school, I would just race off to the movies. And when my little sister Mina was born, as soon as she was old enough, because I babysat her all the time, I would take her with me. And so she's probably saw at a very young age movies that were not intended for an 8-year-old, like, you know, Sophie's Choice, and Taxi Driver, and Blue Lagoon, and, you know, like, but she's a great actress, and she's really sophisticated, so I like to think that maybe I didn't only pervert her. When I was 14, I saw Dog Day Afternoon, which was a movie that changed my life, because I just never seen anything that's alive, and I didn't know film acting could be like that. It was just so Pacino. There was no separation between him and the character. I really believed that he was that guy. It was very raw, it was very messy, it was complicated and vulnerable and beautiful, and I just realized that's what I want to do. I want to do that with my life. And I started doing a lot of plays in school, and then in the 7th grade I wrote and directed this play about a boy with one arm who seduces a little girl, and at the end of the play you find out he has 2 arms. And it was this Iranian folk tale that my stepfather told me that I'm certain he ripped off of Carson McCullers. But we built this incredibly elaborate set with 2x4s and canvas stapled to it would be painted with windows and flower boxes, and there was the piece de resistance was a working screen door that the actors came and, you know, made their entrances and exits. And within the first 3 minutes of the play, the whole thing came crashing down on the stage. And I did the great thing and did not react at all. I just continued with the performance and spent the rest of the play like walking over and around these nails that were like coming up through the wood, and I was so proud. It just had not happened. And when we finished the show, I was glowing with pride and just so elated, and I ran up to my mom and I said, "How was it?" secretly knowing that it was pretty damn great. And she looked at me and she said, "When a house falls down, you might want to notice it." So that's my mom. And then she wrote Georgia for me, and we were shooting Georgia, and we're doing that 8.5-minute Van Morrison song that Ulu was talking about, and I'm petrified, and Ulu has this way of focusing you in and getting you to just trust yourself and just believe that it's all okay and you're it, and just he's so gentle. Every actor should get to work with him, but he had this amazing ability. We rehearsed it, and he said to me, "You know, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Do you want to go for one?" And I said, yeah, I feel okay, actually. I had a little whiskey, and I was feeling all right. And he said, okay, and I just looked at him for a solid moment. And she just came up to me and she looked at me exactly the same way she did when I was 12 and just said, she saw the panic. She just said, "It's not about how you sound. Just stay inside the lyric. If it were about how you sound, this character would never have been a singer." And she's maybe my toughest critic. She's, without question, the biggest influence I've had in my life. I'd like to take a moment to talk about my manager, Elaine Rich, who, when I was 17, I was very inexperienced. I was a very young 17, and I really wanted to get an agent. And I was ushered into her office, and she sat across this big desk, and there was something very warm about her that you would feel instantly, but also very smart and very savvy. And I was nervous, and I wanted to please her, and I wanted her to sign me. And we sat across from one another for a few seconds, and she said to me, "Let me ask you a question. Where do you see your looks falling on a scale of 1 to 10? And I thought, I wanted to come up with the right answer. I didn't know what. I had no idea. So I just thought, what would be the right answer? And I thought, 8. And she looked at me and she said, "Very good." And I have no idea what that means still. But she did sign me, and she believed in me, and I don't know why, and we've been together for 23 years, and she's been the one constant in my professional life. And to call her a manager is so limiting, it's nothing. I mean, she's such a huge part of me. Whenever I'm in a crunch, I think, what would Elaine say? Because she just has a way with words. It's like it's never just oy vey, it's oy vey in neon. When I was telling her, you know, how, and I'm not an easy client, you know, I'm the one that goes, hey, I want to make this movie about these people who get stranded in Namibia and do King Lear in the desert for a scale +10. Doesn't that sound great? It's another piece of career suicide I'd like to do. But she says, yeah, she stands behind it and supports me. And when I was working on the speech, I was a wreck. I mean, I'm telling you, the fact that I haven't had a heart attack on the stage right now is quite amazing. She just said to me, "Oh, my darling, we are all tortured Jews." It made me feel better. I still am in shock, and I feel like I need to kick myself when I think of the actors that I've worked with that not only have I learned from and just had such a great time with, but they've also truly enriched my life. And a lot of them are here tonight and spoke. And I also need to thank every director I've ever worked with who's ever hired me. You know, as an actress, what I try to do is to disappear into the roles that I play. But to do that, I need a great director, and I need a director that makes me better. And I've had directors that have made me much, much better, and that have given me the courage to risk going too far and to potentially be terrible, but have made me feel safe enough to do that, and that's an incredible gift. I'm really fortunate to make my living doing what I love, and I truly think it's amazing that anyone ever gets a job. Sometimes I'll be walking down the street and a man will approach me and say, "Hi, I don't know if you remember me, but we worked together on Last Exit. I was one of the 60 guys that raped you on the dock." And the truth is, I loved shooting that scene. I never understood why Uli Edel was so concerned about me. I was acting, it was a great character, I was having the time of my life. And when people talk about me being courageous or something like that, I don't get it. That's the truth. Charles Durning once told a story while we were shooting Hudsucker Proxy about Claude Rains during production on The Mummy. And it would take them hours to wrap Claude Rains in the gauze. It was kind of a labored, painstaking process. And every once in a while, someone would check in with him and say, "Mr. Rains, how are you? Are you all right? How are you doing?" And he would say, "Just happy to be working." Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I'd really like to thank all my friends who flew in to be here tonight. It means the world to me. And Sarah Bensman, it's like a birthday party or something. It's crazy. I hope you all had a nice time, and please continue to support the Film Society of Lincoln Center. Thank you so much.